How are you today?
I am good. How are you?
I'm good, a little tired, but I'm doing good. Thank you.
Same
Thank
here.
you so much for being here and for doing this. We have
Thank you for having me. Thank you for having me.
so Miss Ornella Koloko.
That will be me.
First, what is your actual title?
My actual title, I'm a registered nurse.
Registered.
I'm a registered nurse. I started doing traveling a year or so ago,
Okay.
but before that, I was always a registered nurse.
Okay, so you started traveling with COVID.
Before, a little before.
Oh,
hmm
just like that, you just decided to see other places.
Yeah, it's a very lucrative side of nursing. Um, it's very lucrative for sure. So why not? I've tried different things and I decided why not start travel?
I mean, I feel like it might be a good thing as well because you get to see other places. But it's just the usual conception, at least mine, is like, the nurse has to go to the hospital, you go to the practice or whatever and
Correct.
home. So now that a nurse has to travel, it's like you're like some kind of corporate nurse. You don't want to.
That's what people say, but no, I mean, you basically do the same thing, but in another city or
Okay,
another country. It's the same thing that I would be doing here, but in a different city.
nice. So, what was your academic journey? Like, where did you start your journey? Did you go to school here all the time, or did you start in Cameroon? Or
Well, my secondary school from primary, everything's been done to Cameroon. I was born and raised in Cameroon. Um, I went through the high school diploma back in Cameroon, and then I moved here. Um, Initially, I was going to school for medicine, so I did a pre med curriculum until I decided to switch um, to nursing. So I did nursing. I have a bachelor's in nursing science from Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, and I started working, and then I moved here to Texas. Still working, just different specialties, but still working.
okay. So was it hard, or do you plan
Very,
on going back?
very hard.
Do you plan on going back to med school or something?
No, no. That was the plan. I'm not gonna lie. To be truthful and transparent, that was always the plan.
Okay.
Until very, very recently, I just found another path that I'm more passionate about.
Wow, nice. But do you have any specialty, or you're just like a general nurse?
I do. I have two specialties. I what we call a critical care nurse. My specialty is critical care, meaning the intensive care unit, anything intensive. That's my specialty. And I'm also a cardiovascular uh, nurse, basically.
And you like where the action and the stress is, don't you?
I do. I do. I thrive with adrenaline. That's where I thrive.
Because I mean, ER is like what emergency. You're like boom, boom, intensive care, boom, boom, and
Yes.
cardiovascular is also like very boom, boom. Like you gotta be.
It could be. It's not as it's not like the ER. It's not like the emergency room where everything is so fast paced, like bam, bam, bam. But the intensive care, especially the cardiovascular intensive care, is more focused obviously on the heart and the vessels around the heart. So it's more meticulous. It's more you have to be extremely meticulous. Yeah,
Delicate, like one mistake and you can mess things up.
and exactly.
Oh, right. Okay. Sounds like some kind of bomb that you're about to and you're like, oh, okay. If I cut this, I'm like, oh, no, maybe the
That's true. That's pretty correct.
So why did you want to be a nurse? What motivates you to become a healthcare professional?
I always knew. I always knew from a young girl that I wanted to be a healer. I wanted to be in the healing industry.
Okay.
Don't ask me where is it coming from. That's just what I always knew I was gonna do. Um, and as I mentioned earlier, my initial thought was to become a doctor, become a physician. until I diverge. And even when I diverge, the goal was to always go to medicine. But that's just something that always grew with me. I could do a million things, but I think my thing will always be in the healing industry, in the healing business. Yeah.
Like you care and you just want to do something to improve the life of
The life
people, but through their health, basically.
through health, exactly.
Okay.
I just want to improve. I just want to help in
Well-being.
your health. Yes, exactly. Basically, in your well-being.
You sound so passionate when you talk about it. Like you feel deep that this is it. Like no doubt, this is it. You know.
That's it. But I think, when they ask you, the whole everybody wants to know what I'm here for. What am I on earth for?
Your
I
purpose.
think people struggle with finding out what it is for a long time. Some
Mhm.
people are lucky enough to find that out early, and some people find that out very later in life. But I think I know that this is what I'm here for. I can use that in different avenue, but the main thing will be healing, will be, serving in that aspect for sure.
Oh well, you just convinced me. I feel like that's what you're here for too. Like that I know was so deep. Like
I
that's why you're here for.
am.
Talk about Cameroon because
Okay.
you are a Cameroonian born. You are
Mhm.
now living in the US, doing everything in the US, working, everything. But when you know the realities of our country in Cameroon, looking at nurses in Cameroon, what are your opinion? What do you think is going on there? Do you think that they are doing a good job? And do you think that they are valued as they should?
To answer the question, do I think they do a good job? I think they do what they are trained to do. They do what the expectations are. I'm not going to say they do a bad job because, I mean, who am I to say that somebody does a bad job? Um, are they appreciated and valued? Absolutely not. Um, but we come the Cameroonian culture or the African culture. There's this stigma around, if you're not a doctor, a lawyer, an engineer, a businessman, you basically failed in your life, right? So everything on the side, it's
Secondary class, like
secondary, exactly, secondary title, let alone being a nurse. In French, we call it une infirmière. Donc, when you say that to somebody, it's okay, yeah. I mean, so she's gonna come in here, she's gonna poke me, she's gonna be mean, she's gonna be, um, because that's just what nurses are in Cameroon. You're just the person that's behind the doctor, and you're yelling and you're mean, and that's what they're trying to do. I don't think the training is where that's my problem with nursing in Cameroon, is where it's with the training.
so for you, if I was to ask you, what is the difference? Like, what difference would you highlight between what's going on here and what's going on there in terms of nursing? Like, in your experience, what do you think they need to change or improve?
The training.
The training.
The training. And basically in the US, my training, it took me 4 years, just like he would take an accountant to get his 4 year degree in accounting, or the engineer, or so forth, so on. Um, the nurses in Cameroon, I don't even think we go for a year before becoming a nurse. I don't even think so.
Mm,
Correct. I may be wrong, but I highly doubt that they are in school for a full 2 years or over a year. I highly doubt it.
okay.
And I don't think we can teach in such a short amount of time a nurse how to care for, you know, people, with the neurological disorders, cardiovascular disorders, ortho, or so forth and so on. Because just like doctors, we need to be able to have a general training before specializing in something. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I don't think in a year it's sufficient to be able to
Please.
get there. Yeah.
Wow. So I guess we can say, is it fair to say that it's actually the system in place that needs to be, you know,
Absolutely.
okay.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I think the curriculum needs to be revised, first of all. Um, I think if the only nurses that are valued are the maternal one, the what you call the stage femme.
Okay.
Those are the right, those the midwives, thank you. Those are the ones that are valued. They've always valued because when we hear nursing, that's usually who you're thinking of. You know what I mean? Um, those are, but nursing is so broad now. It's extremely broad beyond even imagination. So bedside nursing, nurses is not only at the bedside, like you mentioned, going to the hospital or the clinic or whatever. No, not just that. You could be a nurse that specializes in the laws, in the business aspect of things. You can specialize in the info, like the informatic around, nursing system.
Really?
Yes,
Wow.
yes.
Hmm.
But in Cameroon, we don't have that.
No, I feel like we still stuck to the primary setting, like you go, you be behind the doctor and that's it. Because even here, correct me if I'm wrong, but I've been having prescriptions from nurses because the doctor was not present. They call them nurse practitioners.
Nurse practitioners. Hmm.
Yeah, and they sign you, they see you, they get you a prescription just like a doctor would do.
The nurse practitioners, just to pinpoint what you just mentioned, nurse practitioners are literally, they go to school. You go to school beyond even what I did. So you to be a nurse practitioner, you have to get your master's in nursing. And when you come out of that, you're not a physician, you're not a doctor, but you can operate. You have certain privileges like the physicians will do. You can prescribe, you can look at x-rays and CT scans and all that kind of stuff.
Oh, wow.
So you have even more training. You have a higher training. That's why they call them advanced nursing.
Okay, so they have more training, more knowledge.
Definitely more. Yes,
Wow.
definitely more.
So tell us about your traveling. Is there anything that you've seen during your traveling time that has shocked you, especially during this pandemic? Is there something that you've seen that kind of made you like, oh my God, what is this? What is going on? Or made you take a break, like, whew, let me take a deep breath and get back into action? Or is it just
Oh
normal?
yeah, yeah, yes. But I think what got to me more, like during and after the pandemic, is just realizing how much we take life for granted.
Mm.
It's just how much we take the simple task as taking a breath. Like me and you right now, we're talking and we're breathing. Like,
Normal
I
thing.
mean, it's breathing. We don't even think twice before breathing. But I've seen so many people struggle with doing this, during this pandemic, that it just made you think about just just the whole perspective on life just changed for me.
Wow.
Seriously.
So, what would you have to say about this COVID and the way people react, particularly from what we're hearing about the way our fellow Cameroonian are acting and reacting? Because I'm not in Cameroon, you're not in Cameroon, but social media can be deceptive. But the truth is, clearly, sometimes we're just looking at things over there. I just feel like, man, that's where I need to be right now.
That's right. That's true. That is true.
On the other side, you hear, oh, this person lost the parent, oh, this person lost this one, oh, and I'm like, how is that possible? Like, what are we missing, or what are they missing that they need to hear as a professional that you are, and as a Cameroonian? Let's talk like ground on the ground. What do you?
I think for us, everything I want to say is cultural.
Mm,
And I think that's what it is, because you're gonna come across so many people that tell you, oh, drink your ginger tea. If you drink your ginger tea, you drink with your lemon, you squeeze your lemons, yeah, that's fine. We have malaria back home, we have typhoid. Come on, what is corona, compared to those? Um, so for us, we already have that mentality that we're invincible. Sometimes we think that we're invincible, right? Because we've been through malaria for so long. Um, and the symptoms quite resemble malaria, if we have to be truthful. So we feel like we're invincible, number one. Number two, I also put a lot the culture around, oh my gosh, we can find herbs. And I'm not denying that they have their, the herbs that we have can help. I'm not denying that whatsoever. Um, so I think that's what it is. So people think, oh, what's Corona? Let me just go and handle my business, live my best life, do what I want to do. And I'll go home and I will drink my tea. I will do my
Steaming therapy.
steaming therapy, exactly, all that stuff. I will do all of that and I'll be fine.
Mm.
But then on the flip side, you keep hearing, oh, this person passed away, that person passed away from COVID. Well, I mean, he wasn't invincible. And he did drink all the tea and did all the steaming bath, but yet again, he expired just like anybody will do. So, my friend, I think the mentality.
Mm.
I think that the mentality and from even our leaders. If our leaders don't take it seriously enough, how do you expect us to? How do you expect the general population to do the same?
Yeah.
Like in other countries here or in Europe or some other parts of Cameroon, they give you, everything's closed. What's you gonna do? Where are you gonna go if everything is closed? Then you have no choice but to stay at home.
Mm. Yeah.
But that came from our leaders.
Yeah. So basically, the word has to come from the top and to the bottom.
Yeah,
Because our old wives' tales recipe or our grandma recipes, they can help us. That's a
they
fact.
can.
But
Yeah.
I spoke to a doctor a while back, Dr. Nina Loom, and she
Hmm.
did say that it can help, but that in her opinion as a professional, most time the help is up here
Up here.
when it is
Hmm.
at this stage.
Hmm.
You have the variant and all that.
Hmm.
Those are still very complicated because the bottom here is where it goes straight.
And fast. And
Yeah.
fast and does the most damage. So when you're at your early stages of COVID, and if the symptoms are not, too profound, then yes, by all means, I had COVID.
Mm.
I had COVID back in November, but thankfully my symptoms were extremely mild. And I drank the teas. I did everything like you mentioned, like my grandma's tales. I did all that. Why? I'm Cameroonian. I'm African. It's in my blood.
Mm.
I've lived in this country as long as I've lived. Doesn't remove that inside of me. Okay? It does not. But the scientist that I am also believe in, taking my exactly doing what I need to do. Exactly.
Yeah. So, would you recommend people to take vitamins? Because I don't feel like in Cameroon we have that in our culture, to get those vitamins up. I know our food, there's vitamins in food. I get that, granted. But at this point, I may be wrong, but I believe that COVID is something that has to do a lot with the immune system.
It is.
So, having a stronger immune system
Mm-hmm.
increases your chances to fight back, right?
Again, I'm going to bring culture again. Our culture is not preventive. We don't believe in preventing. We only go to the doctors to treat, not to prevent. So we don't have the culture of making ourselves strong on a daily basis.
Mm, 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 mm.
We're going to figure out, we're going to seek help when we basically need it.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
I see what you mean. Yeah. Well, let's leave that sad window for now. Let's talk about women, particularly our Cameroonian ladies, because that's what we're here for. When you
Right.
look at Cameroonian ladies now, what would you commend? The image that is projected. Different Cameroonian ladies. I mean, we're all different. We all project different things, but a general projection. What would you commend, and what would you recommend? We change, as in let's scrap that habit. It's not good for us. We need to do better.
Hmm. You mean in general or?
I mean, general, whatever you've seen, it depends on your the population that you want to take. You know, you can take your friends, you can take other people, whatever you want to take. But based on that population, what would be your take on the image that you see of what a Cameroonian woman is today? What would you think that they think?
Hmm.
What is projected of us from the social media? What image are
Oh, okay. I think the first thing that comes to my mind when you ask me that question is Cameroonian women within the age of, I'm going to say early 20s, maybe
yeah, early 20s.
to, yeah, early 20s to your 40s. I'm going to say the one thing that I see coming more frequently on social media is the I need to be married by a certain age or my life is over.
For real?
Or I'm not considered as a woman. Or
Wait,
I'm not with my friends. Huh?
yeah, I get that. Yeah, you told me. So people are still like a lot of people still think that.
Yes. There's still this stigma around, women not married or not mothers by a certain
Age.
age,
Mm,
then it's a problem.
wow.
Yes. And it doesn't matter what tribe you're from, it doesn't matter whether you live,
Yeah or there.
outside of Cameroon or no, I still see that very, very frequently. It's still a very high topic.
Wow. I thought we passed that. I don't know why. I felt like we were so, like independent, but not still attached to those little.
I don't feel that way. Do we have more independent, stronger women? Yes. But behind closed doors, the same independent, strong women, if they are not married or having children by a certain age, I still feel like the society, it's not necessarily even them personally, the society, Cameroonian society, I'm going to say,
Mm,
it's still like she's still frowned upon. You can have all the diplomas that you have and have, be on the top corporate level. People are still looking at you like,
mm.
oh, but she doesn't have any children. She doesn't have no, and that comes from men and women, mostly women actually.
Ouch. So basically, what you're saying is they'll still kind of look at you like, yeah, she has that, but it's like they always look for something
Something.
negative instead of
There
just
has to be something negative to say about the very independent, strong Cameroonian. There always has to be something negative to say. And I'm not gonna, and I don't even consider it's not even a negative. It's just there has to be something that people need to find out to make themselves maybe feel better than you. I don't know where it's coming from. Okay, it could be from wanting to make themselves feeling better than you, or just
dimming your shine or your lights.
that's it. That yeah,
It
yeah.
may not be negative, but it's just like the purpose is wow, she's at the top. So you could just be clapping, but instead of just clapping and being good job, you have to be finding something else to
To
deviate.
just dim her light.
Yeah,
Exactly. Yeah, and that's something that we have a problem with as women in general.
yeah.
Cameroonian, it doesn't matter where you're from, women in general, we have a hard time um, speaking of our girlfriends or sisters on, put them on the pedestal and give them the credit that they deserve.
Mm,
We have, as Black Cameroonian African women, a hard time with that. Clapping for my sister because she did, for her achievement. We have a hard time saying her name in front, of a full room full of people in her industry maybe, or where opportunity for her might be coming up, and you're thinking about her, but you're not going to say her name only because you think that if I say her name, then she's going to get that opportunity and that's going to leave me behind.
mm,
Why will I say her name?
mm.
That's a problem that we have.
And that we need to work on.
We definitely need to work on that. Like, you shining doesn't take away my shine. and everybody has her road. You have your road, I have my road.
Mm.
And as you give, you shall receive. One way, and it doesn't have to be from you. I gave you doesn't mean that I'm going to receive from you. I may receive
From somebody else.
somebody else.
Yeah. So that'll be. I'll take that the to be improved.
For sure.
What about what we are projecting? What is being projected that we are doing good? As in, there's something positive that will be associated with what people do these days with women.
Oh, I don't know, quite frankly. I think, that's a good question. I've never thought about it. But I'm going to say that we have a lot of up and coming, especially in Cameroon, not even, in the diaspora. We have quite a number of young professional women in the spotlight.
Mm.
Very young professional women in different avenues, in different industry, doing big things in Cameroon and outside, and being recognized in Africa in general.
Mm-hmm.
And Cameroon is primarily a francophone country, but we are being recognized outside of that francophone little bubble.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm very proud of that. I'm extremely proud of that.
So basically, we are we are doing things kind of.
We are moving and we're shaking, and
Shape.
it's, yes, we are moving and we're shaking, and I love that. I'm very proud of that. When I see that, it just makes me want to, keep it up. We have to, because Nigerians women are doing it.
That's true. They're bragging about it, they're shouting.
Exactly, exactly, exactly. So why not us? And we're doing it. We're doing it. I see it. So we're doing it.
So what would you think can help us continue on that track? Like, do we need to be courageous enough to just, say somebody else's name when we are in the room that could bring opportunity for her? Do we need to just, I don't know, open our eyes to something else than just our little person, to know how to appreciate the other, like, you got a nice dress. Oh my gosh, amazing, spot on. I don't know.
I think you got it. You said it all. I
Yeah.
think in order for us to feel appreciated, we need to feel appreciated by our peers. Um, and we also need to, I want to say, almost not care
Mhm.
about what the naysayers, because they're always going to be naysayers. And a lot of times we refrain ourselves from growing because in the back of our mind, we think, what are they going to think? What are they going to think? Oh my gosh, somebody's always going to say this or think that. And I believe if we try to get away from being scared or afraid of what people are going to say, I think we can even accomplish even more.
Yeah.
Yeah. And also believe um, that there's opportunities for everybody. Everybody can eat. Everybody can,
The cake is big enough to be shared.
to share.
Mm.
To share. I should be able to say your name in a room full of people that I believe could be beneficial for you, an opportunity for you, without thinking that it's going to affect me. It doesn't have to affect me. It's for you.
It doesn't have to even be for any of my benefit. It's just
No.
I'm
Yeah.
doing it, so this is for you. Go get it.
That's it. That's it.
I got you. I got you. Got you. Got you. I want to be a little nosy and curious now.
Okay.
Let's talk about young Ornella.
Ooh,
Okay.
ooh,
Whatever version you want to pick. You can pick
ooh.
Ornella from high school, Ornella from college. I think those two, or just maybe the young professional, after college,
Okay.
before you're in the heart of your 20s.
Okay.
To which Ornella would you share this advice with? The advice that you know now, okay, that
Hmm.
you wish she could have used then?
Ooh,
Use
my
them.
Ornella from college for sure.
Ornella from college. Do you mind telling us why? Because we're curious. We want to hear that.
Uh, so Ornella went to college in Pittsburgh, in Pennsylvania. It's a small little old town. Well, I wouldn't say small, not so small, but just older town full of older people. Um, and even the diaspora back then was older.
Oh,
Um, and with that being said, the advice I would give her would be to jump, just jump. And the reason why I say that is because I feel like Ornella in her early 20s wasted a lot of time
mm,
thinking about what are people going to think,
mm,
wasted a lot of time thinking, doubting herself a lot, thinking that, she can't do this. Even though Ornella has always exuded a lot of confidence in a lot of things, but that little voice, inside of her brought a lot of doubt.
mm,
That's why I would tell her to just jump. And that's for anything professionally, academically, even personally, jump. Because whatever is behind the window that you jump is where maybe your breakthrough is coming from there. Whatever it is that you're looking for, you're not going to find it sitting down at the same position for years. You have to make a change.
mm.
You just have to go for it.
Interesting.
Because we always find things I don't want to do that because I'm too young, I'm too old, my parents don't want to see this, my parents don't that, what people are going to think, I don't want to, but we really, really want to.
Mm.
We really want to.
It's funny you mentioned it. That it's so like you said, Ornella, even the one right here, she seems to be like, that confident, That's true though, because like we usually say, I usually tell people that don't stop at this. Never stop at what you see. Like this is like a shell,
It
okay?
is. Mm-hmm.
And inside there's something else.
Yep.
There are a lot of emotions.
Mm-hmm.
There are so much more. You have joy, pain, memory,
Traumas.
trauma,
Yes.
all kind of
Yeah.
things, and they don't
Yep.
show here.
Yep.
People are better at covering, and I'm not saying you are, and I'm not saying
Mm-hmm.
people necessarily do cover, but I'm just saying it's important for people to stop limiting themselves at just the appearances. Okay,
It's human.
it speaks nothing of you.
It does. It's human. It's human nature.
Wow.
It's human nature. You have to want to go deeper. You have to make a conscious effort to go deeper. It's human nature, I think.
Well, I'm gonna take that back too because appearances can also kind of speak a little bit about you.
The what? I'm sorry, what?
Parents can actually speak a little bit about you. So let me
Yeah,
just. I was saying that
yeah.
it doesn't say it all. Let's say
Yes.
it
Hmm.
doesn't say it all, but it does speak a little bit about you.
True.
So you have this job that requires you. I don't know if it requires you to be attached or detached in terms of emotions because you have to deal with a lot of things. You are dealing with
True.
people. You are dealing with people sometimes suffering. God knows what
Hmm.
they tell you. You know, sometimes just my own experience having a child, I talked a lot with my nurse, like exchange.
Hmm.
So
Hmm.
they can feel your anxiety. You can see the anxiety, the worry, whatever it is that they are feeling at the time. How do you cope with your job, your patients at work, all those feelings, your family, your friend? Like, what's your secret? How do you deal with things when things get hard? How do you cope or difficult or
I became very numb. I became extremely numb.
hmm,
It takes a whole lot to see me break down, or to me being affected by, when I mean affected is, going hide in the bathroom and cry, because this patient, is suffering, or because I've seen so many. So at a point, it becomes a routine. At a point, it becomes, especially with COVID, at a point, we were throwing small little parties for patients that made it, because every day we will take so many patients to the morgue. So yeah, I became very numb. It's not a good thing, but it's almost hard not to.
I mean, I'm not judging. I don't
Yeah,
judge, and honestly, I will not blame you because I figured you have to find a mechanism because otherwise you might not be able
yeah.
to function. It
Mm-mm.
will be quite overbearing,
It is.
these and we all humans, so
Yeah. So I became extremely numb, and yeah. So I don't. The way I cope is everything that happens at work, I leave it at work. As soon as I leave the building, I'm a different person, because I'm not gonna bring all the stress and all the pain that I've just witnessed back home. I have another life outside of those walls,
mm.
and that life is just as important as my professional life. So I don't want to bring that home. So I tend to leave it there.
Is it something that you need to get to that level, or did it just happen over time to be able to?
It didn't happen over time. It came with a lot of time, because before I would come home after a long day, and I would tell my husband everything that happened, everybody that pissed me off, everybody that cried, everybody, even the patient that pissed me off. I would tell him about, and we'll take 2 to 3 hours just
Okay.
talking about it. So it takes a lot from you. So basically, you're still at work, but you're home. So it took a while. It took a while. So
Okay.
no.
And how do you, I guess, balance your work life?
My social life is very important to me.
Mm,
My social life is very important to me. And when I say social life, um, my family life, my time with my siblings, my time with my friends. Um, I value quality of time very, very much. So uh, it's important. Like as I plan, how you plan everything from your work, when are you going to work out, when are you going to do I plan my time with my children, or my time with my friends, or my time with my husband. It doesn't matter. I plan everything. It's very important.
mm, okay. Whew. Okay. Some kind of, how am I gonna put it? Strength of nature. Let me just say it that way and leave it
Oh,
alone.
I wouldn't say that. I would not say that,
Well,
because
I'm a softie, and that's why I have this say: God does not put, God leads everybody where they belong. You know what I
that's
mean?
true. That's
Because
true.
there are some things that I even see on TV alone, and my heart is like in pieces. Not to talk about just
What
witnessing
witnessing?
face to face. That's in the medical field, and I'm so out of that field. Like I'm not gonna get any closer to that. Mm-mm.
Well, I have a lot of respect for you. Like the same way you couldn't do what I do, I couldn't do what you do.
No, I don't know, but like I said, it's just. I guess it's just about like I have this belief, that we all have
That's true.
our own strength.
True.
We are just in different ways, but we are
True.
all some kind of strength. But I just have to say kudos because
Yeah.
there's this thing that women we go a lot through a lot, especially when you're working. And if you managed, like you said, to make a clear distinction between your work and your home and
Mm-hmm.
and your life with friends, etc., then it's amazing. Because a
Yeah,
lot of us, and I can relate, when you have a hard day at work,
I'm sure. Mm-hmm.
hobby is gonna care about it.
Exactly.
You're gonna vent and you're gonna tell him everything you could not tell the people who can.
Exactly.
But a lot of us don't realize it soon enough that that is actually sometime taken away from your bonding session or your bonding time.
Exactly.
But back to work, it's more like overtime at home, kind of.
Thank you very much. You got it. That's exactly how I see it.
Yeah,
And
but
and I'm not getting paid for that.
and you're not getting, and you're losing. Like,
And I'm losing.
fix it because your bonding and good time
Exactly.
away.
I'm losing my sleep. I'm losing my time, my bonding time, like you said. I'm losing so much time.
Yeah,
So I leave it as soon as I leave the building. That's it.
yeah.
If
That's
and if I need to vent out, usually when I need to vent out about work, I call a coworker. I try not to call my husband anymore.
mm, 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 mm. I think it's a good way. I actually feel like it's a very good way because I remember I used to do that. My husband used to think about my job like a soap opera. Like it would be a soap opera. Like, okay, so what if a little bit like what's that thing that we all watch when we're kids?
The Young and the Restless.
No, the other one. Rich and Forrester.
Oh, yeah, The Young and the Restless.
No, the bold and beautiful or whatever.
Oh, The Bold and Beautiful, The Bold and Beautiful. You're right, The Bold and Beautiful. There you go.
So it was always like, okay, so what has Brooke done this time?
I know. Oh my gosh. Yes, I know. No, it's too much. Mm-mm.
So what is your views or your opinion about the way we Cameroonian born, whether diaspora or living home, consider our health? Do you think we take our health seriously?
I think it depends on the generation.
Okay, what do you mean? Like, can you break it down a little bit, please?
Yes. What's after Generation X? Are we Generation X or Generation Y? I think I'm Generation Y.
Yeah, I'm lost. You have to give
Yeah. Okay. So Gen Y. Okay. Now let me just use numbers. So I think.
Then why? Let me hear about it.
So Gen Y will be 25 to maybe your early 30s. I think we take our health seriously. I'm going to say even to the 40s
Okay.
now,
Mm,
because we've been exposed to more, we've seen a little more, um, and we believe in prevention a little more. And I'm speaking even maternal health. Now women know about their body a little more. Like we know that we can use contraceptive
mm,
now if we don't want to get pregnant. Um, we know that we need to go see a gynecologist, if for some reason, now if something's not right, with our, feminine health. Um, so we know now versus maybe grandparents. I'm going to go back all the way to the grandparents. Resources were lacking. Uh, we'll go and yeah, resources were lacking. We'll use herbs, and hey, I am all for natural health. I'm all for that. Um, but do we take our health seriously? This generation a little more than parents did, because they are still in the treating. They believe in treating more than preventing. So in Cameroon, it's not enough of prevention. We're not doing enough to educate. Education also plays a big role in that. Education plays a big role. So
I mean, I
I
think
would say yes.
yeah, yeah. I think I hear you, and I think I see what you're saying. So, what would you have to say to now with the whole world, the wild web, everything is available. Okay, there's no
Mhm.
censoring, there's no restrictions, and I don't know about you, but I navigate a lot. And then you have those Cameroonian groups that are formed almost everywhere on Facebook, on this, on that. Man, they have all kind of product that they sell. You know, I don't know about those things. I never use any of them, but when I look at them, I'm just like I have I laugh a lot.
You have, yeah.
They'll tell you about some little remedies or grandma's secrets or whatever for your feminine hygienes. They'll sell you all kind of stuff for it. I'm like, I don't. I look at them sometimes. They look like soap or whatever. And I'm not putting that inside nowhere in my body.
Yeah, I'm not doing that either.
How can we? Are we not pushing the prevention a little bit too far? Is it not something that they should be careful about? Because I feel like we're kind of pushing it too far. You know.
I think we're not educating ourselves enough
Mm.
because everybody is, I mean, now we call Google, in the hospital, we call Google Dr. Google.
Mm-hmm.
Google is everybody's doctor now, right? If you have a little headache now, oh my gosh, let me ask Google what's going on with my head and everything. Um, are we pushing the prevention far? I don't think we can ever push enough.
I mean, I'm
I
just
think.
curious because when I think about that, right, it's like I'm gonna take the example, for example, of the feminine care.
Mhm.
You know, somebody once posted on IG tons of information about some. I don't know if it's something Yoli, whatever it's called. All right,
Okay.
and
Okay.
she said, I quote, the veg, it's not supposed to smell like Chanel number 5. Okay,
She's right.
veg, like just
Mhm.
at it, wash it normal, and leave it at it, right?
Mhm. Mhm.
I have spoken to a pharmacist who said, well, seeing all that, she said she's not close minded. She figured there might be something that could be working. So she's researching it.
Mhm.
Can't see anything about it. Yes, it's still selling a lot and having a lot of traction. So, and all this, I feel like it's to prevent, for your tightness, for your smells, or God knows what else they are trying to prevent. But is it not pushing it too far? That's what I'm asking.
To speak on that example, the reason why I'm not against the yoni, it's called yoni. I'm not against it because it's a very ancient practice. This is not new.
Okay.
If you ask your grandma or the generation before her, I am pretty sure
They use
we
it.
were doing something like this back back in the time. And this is what science doesn't want us to know.
Okay.
Okay, that's my belief.
Mhm.
Um, are you? Is it a good thing to be, putting stuff in your body that you don't know anything about? No.
Okay.
You want to research, and you always, and there's always exceptions to the rule. And what I say or what your physicians say, it's not, I mean, nobody has the knowledge, of everything. But just for that, this is a very, very ancient practice. Extreme, because if you remember, I was growing up at a time where they would tell you to wash your vagina with lemon water.
Yeah, lemon water was the
It was
older.
the thing when exactly when I was growing up. And remember, even in pharmacies, they were selling like little eggs, like little eggs. They will sell little eggs that you will put in the vagina to help clean your vagina. That will eliminate odor. Yeah, yeah, yeah. It will. It did back. I'm talking about 20, almost 30 years ago.
Mm.
So, and it's this almost the same principle. They took it out of the market. They took out especially in America. In Europe, maybe they still have it, but in America, they took it out of the market completely because they believe that the vagina is supposed to clean itself up. We're not supposed to put anything in there.
Okay.
Um, that's what I think.
I mean, you have a point as well, to be honest, because, like I said, I think you make a valid point, which is people need to research more. Don't
Hmm.
just try because it's a hearsay,
It is.
trying to have results. Look,
Exactly.
go find out, and then I think another thing is people should also be mindful that what works on somebody else's body might not do the same thing
For
on.
me, we have different bodies. Yeah,
So there might be reaction to you that I did not get, and then you're gonna get them. Doesn't mean it's not the right thing or it doesn't
there
work.
you go.
But it's just no. You have a point. You have a point. Interesting.
Yeah,
You learn every day. Thank you. No, no, no.
thing.
That's very cool.
It is. Your own is very ancient.
Interesting. So I think that's about it. I just have one more question. Looking at
Shoot.
we we conduct ourselves, we live our life, the way the country it is, and I'm talking Cameroon again.
Okay.
Uh, Women are conducting themselves, looking at what the young generation, younger meaning um, younger than 25, if I want to put it that way, because
Mm-hmm.
they're still searching for their
Searching. Mm-hmm.
personalities and
Right.
dating, etc. What advice would you have to give that generation to help them in that pathfinding? And what advice would you also give us who are more or less kind of stable in the sense where we're supposed to be adult, responsible? What we should keep in mind to be on the same path or to be on the right path for ourselves. These are ladies, all women, ladies, and
In
Cameroonians.
Cameroon.
Hmm. What would you tell
Hmm.
our little sisters that are 17 in college looking at us and dreaming,
Oh,
thinking that wearing red bottom is the real life? Woohoo!
hey. See, if I say this, if I say what I want to say, because that's me and that's what I believe, it might come across as not real, but I'm going to say it because that's my reality.
You have to be you. That's what you.
Exactly. I'm going to tell my younger sister, live. Live your life and live your truth. Meaning, what you see on TV and social media, especially social media, it's all good and dandy. It's beautiful. It's rosy, okay? But it's not the reality.
Mm.
People on social media and the TV, we want to show you what I want to show you. We're gonna, post what I want the world to see. I'm not gonna. People are not gonna post when they are dealing with the dramas and the traumas and the pains and the no. I only post what I want you to see. So I would tell her to live her life, whatever that means for her. Whatever that means for her, before she goes on and become a responsible, adult.
Mhm.
She needs to have experience and go out there and live. And like I said, whatever that means for her. I'm not telling her to leave, young girl gone wild. Kind of no, that's not what I'm saying. But live your life, your truth.
Mm.
Forget about social media. It's hard to forget, but try not to project your life based on somebody else's images, basically. Yeah. And one more thing, try not to keep up with the Joneses. This is very um this is very big right now, and that's with 17, 18, 35, even 40 years old. Yes, ma'am. I realize in the Cameroonian community that we tend to want to keep up with the Joneses. Oh my gosh, my friend just bought the latest Mercedes and she posted it on Instagram.
Mm.
Oh my gosh, her husband bought her this new car. Or she bought it, whatever the case is.
Mm. Mm. Mm.
Uh-uh. I must have the one better than that. I must. It doesn't matter what age you are.
Yeah. I'm sorry. I just have to say,
Yeah,
I always laughed at it because I felt like it's useless to do that.
so useless.
And you're gonna get lost basically if you do that. You're gonna get lost, you're gonna get confused, and you're gonna put yourself in trouble,
Yep,
likely.
most likely. But I believe, I strongly believe, and I see it so frequently with much younger generation.
Hmm.
Um, that's what I would tell her or him to, yeah.
Okay. Well, we got to the end of our conversation. Thank you so
Yeah.
much for
Thank
taking
you so much for having me.
and well, I'll have to you hold for a minute and then
Okay.
thank you and see you soon.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye bye.